My name is Nisha Whelan. I'm a student counsellor here and the IT. Normally work out of Bolton Street. At the moment I'm acting head of the Counselling Service as my colleagues on leave. And basically our role is looking after students who have presented with any type of issues, whether that's academic, personal or social, whatever.
Excellent. Okay. What is the most common issues that you see with students having in college?
They range in issues really from, it can be something to do with an academic issue, a personal issue where they maybe have a broken relationship or have some issues around their own self-identity. It is a time when students are maybe coming to terms with maybe their sexual identity or who they are or what they want to be or who they want to be. It can be a serious issue, whether it can be something to do related with mental health. Maybe they have an anxiety that they've had for a number of years that is becoming more apparent as time goes on, and stress. Depression can be quite frequent among students. A whole wide range of issues. It can be bereavement, it can be anything. Really the whole thing is that they can come to us with any issue that's actually blocking them from their studies or becoming intrusive in their work and preventing their concentration and focus.
A lot of students would feel that a bit worried about actually starting or about actually going to a counsellor. First of all, what they probably want to know, is it confidential and is it non-judgmental?
Yes, I think and I can understand their fears, because you see all sorts of things and people working maybe in counselling that maybe aren't trained, and so the first thing I would say to them is to ensure that the people that they're seeing are properly trained. And yes, within the DoD we are all counselling psychologists, and I think it's important to know who they're meeting and to feel that they feel comfortable in it, really, that they're meeting the person that they're able to talk to, that they feel confident to talk with, and that that they feel that they can actually do the work. And if they don't find the first person that they meet somebody they click with, because not all of us get on with everybody, to know that they can actually go and maybe see somebody else within the service. And our service is free. I think most college services are free, but I know ours is free and it is confidential, and the only time we'd ever break confidentiality would be as if there's a risk to somebody or to themselves, and then we're bound by our ethical code.
Starting college can be very, very tough for young people. What advice would you give to somebody who's basically has left all their friends behind, is going to a new college, doesn't know anybody, is not very a social person, would find it very tough to make friends? What advice would you give somebody like that?
I think the important things for somebody who's coming like that, and it's something we see regularly here, is where a student hasn't connected, and it does affect how their motivation is going to be or the concentration of the course. And so my first advice would be to ensure that they attend induction. Quite often there are icebreakers in induction where they get the opportunity. The objective of induction is actually to meet other students, to have a sense of your course, to have a sense of the people on your course. And here we always try to actually get the students talking, to try and build up a few relationships, because it's really important going into a class. And I think, joining the societies, getting involved in Students' Union can be a good way of meeting other people without feeling the pressure of just meeting maybe the person next to them if they feel very shy. And if they're joining a group, then it's much easier because they have a shared interest maybe or something that will help them. And I think that can be really, really crucial to how they're going to experience college over the 3 or 4 years that they're here.
If someone's feeling down or even slightly depressed, what should they do?
Definitely come and talk to somebody. And quite often when people are feeling down and depressed, they don't always want to tell their friends. They don't always want to tell their family at home, because maybe they were worried, or maybe there's something that they don't feel they can talk about at home, or maybe to their friends. And that's where counselling can really, really be beneficial to a person feeling like that, because a problem shared makes a big difference, really. And I mean, if they come here to the counselling, it is non-judgmental. There isn't a possibility to just look at it, just see what's going on, maybe see other ways and options, because quite often when you're in that state you're not able to see other ways of dealing with it, or the issue can just seem to be bigger and bigger and bigger by the day. The more you get down, the more you get worried about it. And so talking about it can make a huge difference. And there's lots of strategies and ways of dealing with problems, and that we can actually help them with. So I think it can be very useful.
If somebody is behind in their college work and they're starting to freak out and even thinking about leaving college, what advice would you give them?
Again, come and talk to somebody, because all of those things, it's very common. I see it all the time, year on year on, where students feel that they're not up to speed with their work. There may be many reasons for that. Maybe something's happened to them, maybe they were ill, maybe there was somebody ill at home, maybe there was some issue, maybe they didn't have financial stability. Any of those things can block their opportunity to be getting engaged in college. Maybe they were doing a part-time job where they had to do extra hours. There's all sorts of reasons why. The important thing is come and talk to somebody about it, because again, like we have lots of information on study skills, dealing with tests under stress, all of those kinds of things. There's lots of tips and advice we can give them, lots of ways of dealing with college work, and to come and talk to the counsellors, because we can support them and guide them, and again we can maybe advise them on which way is best to approach, again, and maybe see the academic lectures that we're dealing with.
And finally, do you have any advice you'd given to anybody who's watching?
The most important thing is college is about going and having fun, getting the a leg on the ladder of the career you want to do. It's about doing the work in college, but also getting a balance and having a good time. It's very important to keep that balance, keep in touch with family, keep in touch with friends, and to do maybe sports or some activity that you always did. I would always say to students, and I say to them all the time, their mental health will be also affected if they did sports all their lives and they suddenly give them up and feel they can't do them. That can affect them, because the more physically fit they are, the more mentally fit they are. So I would encourage all students to participate in sports and activities that help them, because that helps distressing. It helps them to be, feeling much more balanced in their lives. The other important thing is to make sure they get good night's sleep, good diet. It can be very easy, with the college timetable to sort of get into eating, maybe not so healthy, particularly if they're away from home, where maybe in the past they've had meals prepared and now they have to go and fend for themselves. But to try and get a balanced diet, and to be careful when they go out, not to feel pressured into maybe either drinking too much or participating maybe sexually when they didn't want to or didn't feel comfortable. And they are common issues for students, where there is a sense that everybody's doing it, I have to do it. But it's about trying to get a sense of themselves, because this is a time when they're getting a sense of themselves. First time maybe away, living their own lives. And it's about remembering to be who they want to be, and not being pressured into something else that somebody else wants them to be. And I think that's really important. If they're unsure, come and talk to somebody. We're all here. The whole idea that we're employed is to actually help students and to facilitate them through the completion of their degrees and success, and any kind of coaching or help that they need. And we all need help at times. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And it's not about that there's something wrong with them. It's about that, maybe there's something they haven't thought about that somebody can help them to see, or work with them to see. And that's what it's about.